afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Alyssa Corum and Ken Shreve here to break down the market action for you. There was a late burst of buying, Ken, so we're going to break down what exactly happened, take a look at some intraday charts as well, and some stocks, including today's stock of the day.
Yeah, definitely. We'll start by taking a look at Target. That was the earnings star of the day. Nice test, nice first test of the 10-week moving average for Target. Also take a Roblox, which was resilient again, trades in very volatile fashion, but nice IPO base taking shape here. And finally, I want to look at Applied Materials before its earnings report tomorrow. A lot of people wondering how good these chip equipment earnings are going to be, so we'll see what Ahmed has to say.
All right, all interesting things to touch on there. But first, a look at the S&P 500, a big test of support at the 50-day line, Ken, for the S&P, which finished down just 0.3%. We also had the Dow down about 0.5%, but well off lows. We'll take a look at that chart in a second here. The NASDAQ, if you could believe it, finished about flat. I think the Qs finished up a little bit, and the Russell 2000 taking the biggest hit of the day, down about 0.7% or so. So I think a pretty encouraging close, Ken. Are you encouraged by the action by the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean it's encouraging. It tells you that there are still buyers around, and when you talk about a stock or an index testing a key support level like the 50-day moving average, you want to see a test with conviction. You don't want to see it just kind of straddling the line or just holding above the line. I mean, this was really a solid test of the 50-day line for the S&P 500, so that is encouraging. Looks like volume is a little bit higher on both exchanges, on the NYSE and Nasdaq, than what we saw on Tuesday. So that was encouraging to see a little bit of volume, but it's definitely still a challenged market here. I mean, the S&P and Dow are they've been the leading indexes, and we can go to the Dow here and see that this was a really nice test of the 50-day line as well. But when you go to the Nasdaq Composite or the Qs, it's that index is still struggling below its 50-day moving average, and if it decides to rally back and get closer to that 50-day line, it could very well be a potential resistance level that could spark another wave lower. So encouraging price action in all the major indexes today. Nasdaq is still a little bit troubled here. S&P looking much better.
Well, we'll have to see. We still have 2 days left in the week, and a lot could happen, as we know. So we will have to see how the rest of the week shapes up. But Target was definitely a bright spot today, Ken. Closing at session highs, up about 6.5%, heavy volume. I mean, the heaviest volume here in quite a while. Strong results on both the top and bottom line, some acceleration as well. So Target in the early going, as we were saying on IBD Live, finding some nice support and looking good after this earnings report.
Yeah, in fact, if you switch over to the weekly chart here, this is really just looks like you'd see it didn't come down to its 50-day moving average, but on the 10-week moving average on the weekly chart here, it's a nice test of support, and the stock still looks actionable to me with a relative strength line near highs. Obviously, market risk is heightened at this point. One thing I didn't mention at the top was yesterday we had the eighth distribution day for the Nasdaq. There have been 5 of them over the past 10 trading sessions. So we're seeing signs of mild signs of distribution in the S&P 500, some in the Nasdaq as well. But Target. Target is in a buy zone here, and not many stocks are, but Target's earnings report was fabulous again. It's had several quarters in a row of strong earnings reports, and it was another more of the same today.
That it has, but given where we are with the overall conditions, caution warranted. Doesn't mean you can't make any new buys, but make sure you are focusing on stocks with those strong relative strength lines like we are seeing, and not too extended from their 10-week moving averages. And let's also check in on a recent IPO that we've been tracking, as it's working on an IPO base, which reported its earnings not too long ago. It's still working on this pattern here, though there's a very different look to
Yeah,
the
I say,
weekly chart.
yeah, let's not look at the daily. Let's just look at the weekly. We'll feel much better about it. Yeah, this is, I mean, it's
Exactly.
such a volatile stock, and it can trade wildly, but it doesn't. But so a company that has a market cap of north of $40 billion, so it's no small potatoes. It just tends to trade in volatile fashion, especially on the daily chart. But this weekly chart here, we talk about staying engaged in a down market. Market conditions can get frustrating when you're having to cut losses sooner than expected. But you want to keep track of stocks that are like Roblox setting up in a really, what looks to me like a great IPO base here. It's not actionable yet. I like the stock's resilience today. It actually it closed up on a down session. So this one is front and center on my radar. I'm going to just wait for the stock to prove itself a little more. Its last earnings report, you can see the huge revenue growth in recent quarters. Revenue growth has accelerated for 4 or 5 quarters in a row. So very impressive. This is a company that
Yeah.
operates an online gaming platform where users kind of create their own games, and then they tell their friends and they tell their friends, and so on and so on. So it's a very
Hmm.
sticky service. And the earnings report just last week was very bullish, and like the way the stock is setting up here. Has the look of an emerging leader, really.
Yeah, and if it can keep it up, one could see that relative strength line really bolting to new highs if we can see a move to the upside from Roblox. And we love focusing on stocks with the relative strength lines that are hitting highs. So I agree, Ken. I think it's definitely one for the watch
Even
list.
even when you look at the volume bars at the bottom here, you see all the up weeks, and you had some nice spikes in volume behind the up weeks, and then you see some of the down weeks. I think it's only had three
Hmm.
down weeks as a publicly traded company. So this is a setup that is progressing nicely. Like I said, it tends to trade in volatile fashion, but the weekly chart smooths things out a little bit. It's just a
That it
great,
does.
yeah, it's a great IPO base taking shape here.
Okay, and Applied Materials, ticker AMAT, gained 2.5% today, reversing higher after really getting hit hard last week, falling well below its 50-day line after a big run since breaking out last November. It has earnings tomorrow. And Ken, do you think that a strong report from AMAT could help to repair the recent damage that we've seen, not just for AMAT, but in this group?
Well, another bullish quarter is expected, and every time Applied Materials has reported earnings over the past 2 or 3 quarters, the CEO has just been consistently bullish, consistently giving strong outlooks after the results. So this one's not actionable yet, but it is going to be the first chip equipment earnings report that we're gonna see here. And this is, or actually, several have reported, but they report Thursday. Another strong quarter of growth expected. If the results are positive and the stock, were to gap above its 50-day moving average, that could be enough to break the stock out of a downtrend here. So, and what they say is going to move the chip sector. I thought one of the most interesting things about today's session was, even though the Nasdaq was under pressure for a lot of the session, so many chip equipment stocks and chip stocks outperformed in the Nasdaq 100. Just looking at the final closes here, AMAT had a great day. KLA up 3%, Lam Research up 2.5%. So a lot of chip stocks were outperforming today, even when the Nasdaq was trading lower. So this group still could have the potential to lead, in my opinion.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if some of the recent damage that's been done to some of these charts can be, taken away, and they can start getting back into that position of leadership, as you mentioned, Ken. But that is it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning on IBD Live with more. So tune in for that. Investors.com/IBD Live. Thank you, Ken. And we'll see you back here tomorrow.